Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are all welcome to our النحو الواضح lessons, and inshallah in this lesson we are looking at المجرد والمزيد. Still we are in the صرفيات, يعني دروس الصرف. We are still looking at the morphology lessons. So again, for those who have been saying we should do surf, I think this would be a good start for our surf. This introduces us to the surf studies until we pick up a separate independent surf book and then go through. Today we are looking at المجرد والمزيد, and the مجرد والمزيد here is focusing on الفعل المجرد and الفعل المزيد. We are talking about verbs. Okay, so when we say مجرد, something is مجرد, بمعنى it is free of additions. When we say مجرد بمعنى خالص من الزيادة, أي لا يوجد فيه زيادة. It doesn't have any additions in it. And when we say مزيد, as you can see, زاد يزيد, المزيد بمعنى المزيد فيه. That is actually the full name. أي الفعل المزيد فيه, the verb that has additions. Okay, so what this means is that we have certain verbs. They have their root radicals. Radicals mean the letters. So let's say this verb, we say it's a 3-letter verb, okay, or it's a 3-radical verb. We mean that the verb has 3 letters, just 3 letters. That is the root, okay. And then we can say this verb is 4-lettered verb. That is, the root of the verb itself is made up of 4 letters. What happens is that the root letters that you have, we can add certain letters to create other meanings. Okay, so you have alima, you can now have allama. Okay, you can have a'lama, you can have ista'lama. So from the root, which is the ain lam mim, you can now be adding certain things. You don't add haphazardly, but then you're adding based on some rules, which we will come to learn inshallah. Okay, so he's saying that al-mujarrad is the one that does not have any addition. That is the one that is just made up of the root letters. And al-mazidu fihi is the one that has additional letters. And the letters, they are added to create specific meanings. Okay. It says مجرد الثلاثي ومزيده. مجرد الثلاثي بمعنى the 3-lettered root verbs that has no additions. ومزيده, and its addition. So verbs basically should end with six letters. Verbs are supposed to end with 6 letters. So when you have the مجرد الثلاثي, it means that you can add another letter to make it 4. You can add additional letter to make it 5, and then you can add 3 letters to make it 6-lettered verb. Now when addition reaches 6, you stop there. In some other books you find examples of 7-lettered verbs, I think. So but then basically it should take us to 6-lettered verbs. So when you hear مجرد الثلاثي, we mean the verb that is just the 3-radical, no additions. ومزيده, and its mazid. So you can have the 3-radical and then a letter will be added. So when you look at the verb, you can see that, oh no, this verb, the root is 3. This other letter is addition. 2 letters can be added, and you can look at the verb and see the meter and know that yes, 2 letters has been added. And then 3 letters can be added. When you look at it, you know that this verb here has 3 additional letters. Like fahima. When you hear istafhama, you know that the alif, the sin, the ta, they are not part of the root. The root is fahima, which is 3. So istafhama, it is mazid as-thulathi. It is 3-lettered verb that has additions. Okay, but some verbs, when you trace them back to their root, you realize that their root is 4-lettered verb, which we will see inshallah. But here we are focusing on the 3-radical verb, which is additions. How should the additions come? We will see all of them. Let's look at the amthila. It says fahima at-tilmizu ad-darsa. Okay, so we just be doing it number 1 and its opposite. Okay, so the verb here is fahima. Fahima at-tilmizu ad-darsa. The student understood the lesson. And then you have here afhama. So fahima, he understood. Afhama, he made someone understand. Okay. Afhama al-ustazu at-tilmiza. The teacher has made the student understand. Like kharaja, he went out. Akharaja, he made somebody go out, or he took something out. So that is the first increment you are to see here. A hamza is added in front of the verb. So you have zahaba, adhaba. Adhaba is fi'l madi, but then it is originally three-lettered verb, and the hamza has been added to create a meaning. The meaning is what you can see. When we say fahima, he understood. Afhama, he made someone understand. So that is the first addition here. Note it. You can add hamza in front of the three-lettered verb to create another meaning. We have hamala al-jamalu al-qutna. The camel carried the cotton. Then look here. Hamala. Hamala al-rajulu al-jamala. The man loaded weight on the camel. Hamala, to burden somebody with something. Okay, to put a burden on somebody, to put a weight on somebody. You look at Surah Al-Baqarah towards the last verse. He says, رَبَّنَا لَا تُحَمِّلْنَا رَبَّنَا لَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. Oh, our Lord, do not burden us with what we don't have energy for, what we cannot stand. Okay, it says رَبَّنَا لَا تُحَمِّلْنَا. It is coming from حَمَّلَ يُحَمِّلُ تُحَمِّلُ. You read again. وَلَا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا إِسْرًا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا. So you can see the difference. حَمَّلَ and then حَمَّلَ. حَمَّلَ is to make somebody carry a weight. Okay. لَعِبَ الْوَلَدُ, the boy played. لَعَبَ الْوَلَدُ أَخَاهُ. The boy played with his brother. لَعِبَ الْوَلَدُ, the boy played. لَعَبَ, he played with. Okay. لَعَبَ بمعنى he played with. So لَعَبَ الْوَلَدُ أَخَاهُ, the boy played with his brother. What are we seeing here? The whole of this. The whole of this first part is showing us that when you want to add just one letter, this is how it comes. You either add hamza in front of the verb, or you add tad'if, what we call tad'if, which is the shadda. I'm sure you know it now. You add shadda in the ainul fi'l. When we say ainul fi'l, is the middle letter of the verb. So like qatala, qattala, you add shadda on it. What the shadda means is that you've made the middle letter double. Okay, and then you have la'aba, where alif has been added after the fa'ul fi'l. Fa'ul fi'l is the first letter of the verb. So the first letter of the three radical verb is the fa'ul fi'l, the middle letter is the ainul fi'l, and the last letter is the lamul fi'l. That is how it will be referred to in sarf, in morphology. So when you want to add just one letter to the three-letter verb, the mazid biharfin wahid, mazid with one letter, you either add hamza in front of the verb, you either add tad'if, double the middle letter, or add alif after the first letter. Okay, this is the three forms of adding one letter to a fi'l. Now let's come to the second part. He says, dafa al-ma'u as-safinata. The water pushed the ship. The water pushed the ship. In dafa al-ma'u, the water gushed forth. In dafa'a, to come out with a force. In dafa al-ma'u, the water gushed forth or pushed forth. And then we have rafa'a al-jundiyu ar-rayata. The soldier raised the flag. Ar-raya is flag. And then we have irtafa'at ar-rayatu. The flag has risen. Irtafa'at, the flag has risen. Hamira al-wardu. The flower is red, or the flower has reddened. Ihmarra al-wardu. The flower has become reddish. The flower has become reddish. Daraba ar-rajulu السارقة, the man hit the thief. Says تضارب الرجلان, the dot here is not showing. تضارب الرجلان, the two men fought, they beat each other. تضارب, yani this one hit that one and that one hits that one. See how that is different from ضرب. So you can't say ضرب الرجلان. You have to use the format تضارب الرجلان, the two men hit each other. حسن الجو, the weather is nice. Okay. تحسن الجو, the weather has become nice. Okay, so this second part also, let's see what that also meant for us. We have dafa'a, rafa'a, hamira, daraba, hasuna. They are all three related verbs still, but then in this category we are adding two more letters to make it 5. So you see the first one, in dafa'a, you add alif and nun in front of it. And then we have irtafa'a. The root is what? Ra, fa, ain. So when you look at it, you realize that alif has been added in front of it, and then a ta has been added after the fa'ul fi'l, which is the ra. Okay, so we have irtafa'a, and then the ta there is because the fa'il is feminine. Irtafa'at ar-rayatu, the flag has risen. So you can add alif and nun in front, or add alif in front of the fa'ul fi'l and add ta after the fa'ul fi'l. And then you look at hamira, ihmarra. Ihmarra is on the meter if'alla. So what it means is that you double the lamul fi'l. So the verb is hamira, the lamul fi'l is the ra, you double it. Tad'if, you do tad'if on the last letter. And then you add alif in front of the verb. So it's like fa'ala, if'alla, hamira, ihmarra. Okay. Then we have daraba. It has now become tadaraba. What has been added? A taw here and then an alif after the fa'ul fi'l. A taw in front of the verb and then an alif after the fa'ul fi'l. So you have jalasa, tajalasa. Two letters have still been added. Hasuna, hasinun. Then we have tahassana. What has been added is a taw in front of the verb and then tad'if of the ainul fi'l. Okay. Now, let's look at the last one and then I'll go back and show you the meters, various meters that we've created. Okay. So we look at radiyal walad walidu an ibnihi. The father is pleased with his son. Radiyal walidu an ibnihi. The father is pleased with his son. Then we have istarda al waladu abahu. The boy sought the pleasure of his father. Istarda, to seek the pleasure of, to seek the rida of. Then we have hadaba az-zahru. The back has curved, has bent. Back has bent. Az-zahru is back. Hadaba bimana, it has become like a semicircle, to bend something like a bow. Ihdawdaba az-zahru. The back, human back like this, has become hunched. Okay, hunched back. So ihdawdaba az-zahru bimana, the back has become hunched. Okay, so let's look at here also. What are the meters we are seeing here? We are seeing that from this three-lettered verb radiya, we have istarda, where alif, sin, ta has been added to the root letters. We have hadaba, and then it has become ihdawdaba. Alif has been added, and then another dal has been added, and then the alif here has become waw here. Okay, and then so we have istaf. Let's say radiya is on the meter fa'ala or fa'ila, if you want to put it that way. The istarda, the meter will be istaf'ala. Okay, hadaba is already on the meter fa'ala or fa'ala if you want to pick it as a root letter, but then hadaba here is 4. We are supposed to have 3-lettered verbs. Okay, so they just brought it so that we see this meter, but then it's supposed to be 3-lettered verbs. So ihdawdaba is actually on the meter if ala. Jamil, let me show you something. What meters are we having here on this chamber? here. So all these places you have fa'ala, 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 three-lettered verbs. When we come to the mazid aspect, so three-lettered verb fa'ala, how can it become the meter? How can the meter become when a letter is added? It can become af'ala. Af'ala. From fa'ala you can have af'ala. From fa'ala you can have fa'ala. Fa'ala. From fa'ala you can have fa'ala. La'aba. Fa'ala. That is when you want to add one letter. These are the three options you have. When you want to add two letters, these are the options you have. The verb from fa'ala can become infa'ala. Infa'ala. It can also become ifta'ala. Ifta'ala. And then it can also become if'alla. If'alla. It can become tafa'ala. Tadaraba. Tafa'ala. And then it can also become tafa'ala. Tahassana. Tafa'ala. These are the meters you can have when you want to add two letters to a three radical verb. And then you have istaf'ala. Istarda. Istaf'ala. And then you have ihdawdaba. If'aw'ala. If'aw'ala. These are also the meters you would have if you want to add three letters to the verb. Okay, Jamil. Now, with this being said, let's go to the bahs. Here they are just showing us that when you have a three-lettered verb, you can add two, you can add three, you can add one letter, you can add two letters, you can add three. That is when you add three, that is where it stops, because you are not supposed to go beyond 6 letters for a verb. Okay, as we've already explained this, we will quickly run through the bahs. البحث says كل مثال من أمثلة القسم الأول يشتمل على فعل ماض عدد أحرفه 3. So all this part, the verbs are 3 letters. All this part, the verbs are 3 letters. That is why I was saying the hadaba is not supposed to be part of the list. And then it says وهذا أقل عدد ممكن في حروف الأفعال. And this is the least number, least possible number. أقل عدد ممكن في حروف الأفعال. This is the least number, possible number in the letters of a verb. So the verb cannot have 2 letters. A verb cannot have just 1 letter. It's supposed to be 3 letters. Least, that's the least you can have. It says فإذا وجد فعل وكانت أحرفه أقل من 3 كان بعضها محذوفا. If you find a verb that is less than 3 letters, then some of the letters has been deleted. Like when you see kul. Kul is a fi'l amr. What is happening is that it was originally qala, but then because of the illa, it is a fi'l ajwaf, and we are creating amr, so the middle letter went off. But originally it is 3 letters. It says والأحرف الثلاثة في أي فعل من أمثلة القسم الأول حروف أصلية. So these are the terms you need to talk about. When we say فعل مجرد, we mean that all the letters in it are حروف أصلية. They are root letters. They are part of the verb. You can't take them out. But the moment it becomes mazid, it means you can take some letters out and you still have your verb. He says all the letters in there are حروف أصلية. All the letters in the verbs in this category, they are all أصلية. All the letters are أصلية. بدليل أننا إذا حذفنا واحدا منها كالفاء من فهم ضاع لفظ الفعل ومعناه. The proof for knowing that all the letters are root letters is that when you take a verb like fahima and you take off the fa, you realize that the meaning and the pronunciation of the verb will go off. ضاع لفظ الفعل, the wording of the fi'l itself will be lost, and then its meaning معناه will also be lost. It says فجميع هذه الأفعال إذن, so all of these verbs, the verbs in the category, this category, not the mazid, the mujarrad, the verbs in this category, that's what they are talking about. It says فجميع هذه الأفعال إذن لا تشتمل إلا على حروف أصلية. So all those verbs in the category A, three-lettered verbs that we are seeing, all of them, they only contain root letters. It says فهي خالية ومجردة من أي حرف زائدة أو من أي حرف زائد على أصولها. So the first category, all the verbs there, they are خالية بمعنى مجردة. When we say something is مجرد من شيء بمعنى خالية منه, بمعنى it is devoid of it. We're saying that all the three-lettered verbs that we have in that category, they are devoid of any حرف زائدة, any additional letter, على أصولها, on its radicals, on its root letters. So ولذلك يسمى كل فعل منها مجردا. And so every verb in the first category is called فعل مجرد. So even from here you can tell that الفعل المجرد هو الذي يكون كل حروفه أصلية. Okay, from here you can just create your own definition. And it says here, it says وإذا تأملت أمثلة القسم الثاني رأيت أن كل فعل فيها هو نفس الفعل الذي في المثال المقابل له مع زيادة, very important. So if you look at this category where the verbs letters has been added to it, if you look at this category, he's saying that رأيت, you realize that أن كل فعل فيها هو نفس الفعل الذي في المثال المقابل له. You realize that it is the same verb. So فهم, أفهم, it is still the same فهم root that we are dealing with. Okay, with زيادة, with additions, with a little addition. فالأمثلة الثلاثة الأولى زيد على كل فعل فيها حرف على حروفه الأصلية. So in the first three, one letter has been added. This first three, just one letter has been added. Okay. And then he says that أيوة على حروف الأصلية. says فالحمزة زائدة في أفهم. So the hamza in أفهم is زائدة, is a حرف زائدة. فاو is حرف أصلي, and then ها is حرف أصلي, ميم is حرف أصلي. So you can take off the حرف زائد and still have the verb. So you can take off the hamza, and then you have your fahima. It says والميم زائدة في حملة, and a meme has been added to the hamala and it has become hammala. And you have والألف زائدة في لا أبا, and the alif here is زائدة في لا أبا. It says that والأمثلة الخمسة التي بعدها, and the second category of examples which are 5 in number, زيد على كل فعل فيها حرفان على حروفه الأصلية. When you look at the 5 examples, you realize that 2 letters has been added to the root of the verb. It says فمرة تكون الزيادة بالحمزة والنون. At times the ziyada is made up of hamza. Here he means alif, wa noon, yani infa'ala. You've added alif and noon to the verb. Wa marratan bil hamza wa ta, where we say ifta'ala, you've added alif and ta. Wa thalithatan bil hamza wa tikraru harf asli, where we have ihmarra. You have hamza and you repeated the lamul fi'l. Says ورابعة بالتاء والألف, and then when you look at the fourth one, you realize that a ta has been added, and then alif, where you have the تضارب تفاعل. وخامسة بالتاء وتضعيف حرف الأصل, where we have تحسن. Okay, تفعل. Okay. Says والمثالان الأخيران زيد على زيد على كلا الفعلين فيهما 3 أحرف هي الحمزة والسين والتاء مرة. So at times for the last 2 examples, this one you see that alif sin ta has been added. Then it says والحمزة والواو وتضعيف حرف أصلي أخرى, and then in the other example you realize that we've added hamza, wow, and tad'if of harf asli. Let me show you where the ziyada are. You have this alif where they call the hamza. That is what they are calling the hamza. And then we've added this wow, and then we've doubled a harf asli, which is the dal. So we have alif, wow, and then we've doubled the harf asli, which is dal. That is the tad'if. Tad'if is basically doubling. Okay. So for the 6 letters, you can add 3 letters to the three radical verb and get your 6 letters. You would have the meter if ala, and then istaf'ala, like istaghfara. Okay. And then he says, وَإِذَا لَمْ يَكُنِ الْفِعْلِ مَاضِيًا وَأَرَدْتَ أَنْ تَعْرِفَ أَهُوَ مُجَرَّدٌ أَمْ مَزِيدٌ. He says, if the verb is not past tense, we are dealing with past tense here. If the verb is not in the past tense and you want to know whether the verb is mujarrad, and it is all the letters are asli, am mazid, or some letters have been added, or you want to know this, faruddahu ila al-madi, turn it back to the madi, summa unzur fihi, and then look into it. Let's say I have a verb like istaghfara, no, mudari. I have yastaghfiru. I want to know if it is asli, all the letters are asli, or it is mazid. What do? I turn yastaghfiru into madi and have istaghfara. Okay, the meter istaghfara is on the meter istaf'ala, which is part of the meters of mazid. And so I know that alif sin ta has been added. Basically, that is what they are telling us. Okay. Al-qawaid, we have al-fi'l al-mujarrad ma kanat jami'u hurufihi asliyatan. That is the definition for al-fi'l al-mujarrad, which you have to memorize. Al-fi'l al-mujarrad ma kanat jami'u hurufihi asliyatan. When we say fi'l mujarrad, it is the one that all its letters are root letters. You can't take any one of it out. And then we come to al-fi'l al-mazid. The definition of al-fi'l al-mazid is ما زيد فيه حرف أو أكثر على حروفه الأصلية. It is the one that a letter or more has been added to its root letters. And then we come to الثلاثي يكون مزيدا فيه حرف. When you have a ثلاثي, الثلاثي هنا بمعنى الفعل الثلاثي. It can come مزيدا فيه حرف. A letter can be added to it, just one letter. أو حرفان, or 2 letters. أو ثلاثة أحرف, or 3 letters. You can have أربعة أحرف because they have to end with 6 letters. Okay. So this ends this particular lesson. In our next lesson, we are looking at مجرد الرباعي ومزيده, which will be a very short one, inshallah. May Allah grant us the energy, grant us the time, grant us the understanding, and grant us the ability to be able to always bring the lessons to you, inshallah. Till we meet again, have a very good Arabic time. Don't forget to share for others to also benefit as you are benefiting. And if there is anything, inshallah, you would need to call my attention to, do not hesitate. The comment section is for you. You can call my attention to it. Clarification, whatever is it that you want us to make, inshallah, we are ready for that, and then we will see to it. Please do well to be revising. Do well to be revising. Don't forget a single qaida. Okay? Have a very good time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.